Okay. You can all see my screen, is that correct?
Yep.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I'm starting something called Podcast Circle, and it's a really simple idea, guys, but it can be really, really effective. And I actually have a use case example to show you how effective it can really be, involving Corey ASMR, actually. So the idea of this, or I guess kind of the requirements, is it's good to pick a niche. So this is a group strategy. It's good to pick a specific niche. This is an organic growth strategy. And I would say it requires a group of 6 people or more. So luckily we have like 6 people on this call today, so maybe this will work, okay? So kind of the idea here is, here's person 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, okay? Week one, this is, like I said, it's super simple concept, but if we actually do it, it really is really, really effective, okay? So 6 people. So person 1 interviews person 2, person 3 interviews person 4, person 5 interviews person 6. Next week, you mix it up. 1 interviews 3, or 3 right? And then next week, right, mix it up again. So here's essentially that all mapped out, right? So we could all have a podcast, and just with a small group of people, we could really create a lot of synergy, really help each other, grow each other's podcasts, share each other's podcasts. We create content. What I like about podcasting is I don't got to do the work. I get to interview somebody and they get to talk the whole time. That's great. I don't like talking all the time. So this is a great way where you can kind of automate that process, right? Interview somebody else and have them create your content for you. But then you got to repay the favor. You got to go on their podcast. So this is kind of just a little example of that with a small group of people. Imagine if we had 10 people or 50 people, right? This could get really big. Now, how do we actually grow our podcast using this method? Because just interviewing each other back and forth doesn't really do it. So here's an example of this in action. So I have a YouTube channel. Okay, it has about 1,000 subscribers. Now, Corey ASMR, he has a lot more subscribers than me. He has like 230. That's actually a low number to what he has now. He gains 15,000 followers a week. It's crazy. That's 15 times the amount of followers I have. He gains that every single week. So teaming up with a big influencer like Corey can have big advantages. So what I did was I interviewed Corey and I had him on my podcast. You'll see it's right here. Creator Tutorials, Alex Hit. This is my podcast. What Corey did is he shared it on his community tab on YouTube. This is a tab that most people do not even know about. Corey had never posted something to his community tab. Well, he was very generous. He reposted my video, my podcast with him on his community tab. And it is my most popular video, okay? Here are the real numbers and the real effect that Corey sharing something to his community tab had. So here's my normal, podcast views, and then he shared it, right? And this created over 14,000 impressions with a 5% click-through rate, okay? My normal click-through rate is anywhere between 1% and 2%. So he just upped my click-through rate, massively. And he also increased the views a lot. So here's the normal performance of one of my videos. Like I said, about a 1% click-through rate, 1,000 impressions. When Corey did this, he 10x'd it.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can actually see they have it in the analytics, but they have channel pages. So YouTube actually gives us the information that this is exactly what happened. Channel pages, that means the community tab, and 89% of those views came through that community tab. So, just see more traffic sources there. So yeah, so like I said, that's a really easy way. If we can team up with some larger creators, we can do them a great service, having them on our podcast. And then we can also do the same thing with our community tab. Obviously, it's better when you team up with bigger creators, but even with somebody with 1,000 followers or 500, the concept still works, right? So good collaboration partners for this type of strategy, people with a large social media creators, YouTubers with high engagement or subscriber count, like Corey, right? This is kind of a traditional one, but authors for a long time, if they're coming out with a new book, you interview them and, that can get some traffic. Or niche specific influencers and podcasters. So in an ideal world, what we would do is kind of target one niche. Like maybe we're targeting the public speaking niche, right? And you get a bunch of public speakers together and you guys just dominate the public speaking YouTube, and you guys collaborate on what are the best titles, right? And you can kind of share information. But the goal is to handful of people together And maybe ours is like creators or, something like that. And then famous peoples and brands that are searched for. So like if you could interview the CEO of TikTok, right? That might be a good interview to have. Maybe he's not very Googled, but his position is. Different ways to share this with your audience. The number one way is through the YouTube community tab. YouTube is the largest podcasting platform. It's bigger than it's bigger than Apple Podcasts, it's bigger than Spotify. It is the largest podcasting platform out there. And they just released Apple Podcast, which is a way that you can watch YouTube videos in an audio only format. And I just put out a video yesterday that shows you how to create a YouTube podcast. So if you don't know how to do that, you can go watch on my YouTube channel. But types of collaboration, and we're going to talk about the SEO and how to do SEO on these podcasts, because that's as important as any of the other tips. But so YouTube community tab, retweeting it. A lot of times people that I do podcasts with, they don't have a big YouTube channel, but they do have a substantial LinkedIn following. So I ask them to share it on LinkedIn. Okay. If you can get them to share it with their email list, that's a big one too. But a lot of times, guys, I only ask them to share it in one place. Because if you ask somebody, hey, can you share it on your Facebook and your YouTube and your LinkedIn and your email? They'll be like, dude, you just had me on a podcast. So ask for one, be polite, ask for one, and have that be their largest platform. Okay. So these are the things that you want to include in the title and in the description of the video to maximize the SEO of that video. So in the video with Corey, I have Corey ASMR. I also have his full name. His real name is not Corey ASMR, if you can believe it. I have his full name. I have his business name. I have his website as a backlink. Okay. And I also have him repost to his community tab too. And so all of those things are telling Google or a search engine, hey, this is that person, right? So those are all really important. Their name, their business name, their website, any nicknames that they have. Anything that can tell these search engines, hey, this is the person on this podcast. So all that's really important. Okay. That's it, guys. That's what a podcast circle is. Pretty effective, pretty cool, right? Trying to get a group together to do that. Yeah. Any thoughts, any questions?
I'd love to take part because on my YouTube channel, I've only got 11 subscribers.
Yeah, we need to help with that for sure.
I love it, Alex. I'd love to put a functional wellness group together.
Yeah. So I alluded to this a little bit in the call, but I am launching a community group next week, which everybody who is a part of this meeting will get free access into. And we'll have a podcast circle in there where we can start practicing this strategy. And I'm going to have a calendar that is actually going to do the matchmaking for you. So you guys don't have to manually do it. I'm going to kind of oversee the process and make those kind of, this week it's 1 and 2, and next week it's 2 and that thing. So you don't have to organize that amongst yourselves. We can do it together as a community. So that's going to be cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, love it.
I would love to be part of it as well. Next week, I'm going to be a speaker in a mass event here in Prague on Thursday, so I won't be able to join you guys, but okay. Keep me in the loop.
I will keep you in the circle.
Awesome.
I'm in.
Cool. Well, like I said, we're going to talk about this next week. I'm going to launch the community app next week, which we can all be a part of. Cool. I'm kind of burnt out. I don't know if I want to record a podcast.